Hello and welcome to Teach It Like You Mean It, a podcast tailor made for intermediate phase educators right here in South Africa. My name is Margaret Botman, and our goal here is to share practical ideas, strategies, and resources that can make us all better educators. Whether you're listening in on your way to school, during a school break, or while getting things done at home, this podcast is for you. In today's episode, we're excited to welcome back Larisha Laberskachny, a very skilled educator with a master's degree in special needs education. Larisha has more than 7 years of teaching experience, during which she has worked as both a post level one educator and a departmental head. Her experience includes both local and international settings, focusing on helping students with severe intellectual disabilities. Join us as we delve into her valuable insights on reading strategies and support strategies for intermediate phase learners. Larisha, how are you doing today?
Hello, Margaret. I am doing so well. I hope that you are also doing well.
I am so excited. Started 2025 with a bang. So before we get into this conversation, I see a lot of educators are going into special needs education, but I just think it's important for you to explain to us what is special needs education.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's start off by discussing what is special needs in the broader term, and then I will specifically refer to special needs education. So,
Mhm,
special needs refers to the individuals who require additional support due to physical, intellectual, or emotional challenges. These may include conditions like autism, learning disabilities, or physical impairments, and the support provided aims to help them overcome obstacles to learning, development, and daily life activities. Then, the broader term special needs education refers to the teaching strategies, resources, and support designed to help learners with disabilities or learning challenges. It
mhm,
focuses on addressing the individual learning requirements of learners with physical, intellectual, and or emotional conditions, ensuring they receive an education that accommodates their needs. This type of education includes personalized teaching methods, specialized tools, and tailored classroom environments to support learners in teaching them and reaching their full potential. I just
mhm,
want to say that special needs education is a field that you have to complete in your honors degree, but
mhm,
it doesn't mean that if you have a foundation phase or intermediate phase degree, even senior and FET degrees, you can still apply at schools for learners with special needs. You don't have to specialize in an honors or a master's degree to apply for a post at those schools. Obviously, passion is key. So, first make
Yeah.
sure that this is for you, but it's such an amazing environment to work in and to support those learners. It's quite incredible. And when you meet a special needs teacher, you will know it's a special needs teacher.
Thank you so much for touching on passion because I wanted to know what led you into special needs education.
So, special needs education in my third year of my studies, my degree, my first part of my studies, I
Mhm,
did my practicals or will integrated learning, they call it integrated learning, at a school for learners with severe intellectual disabilities in Potchefstroom. So,
mhm,
in the Northwest province. And from the moment I stepped in and saw the learners and engaged with the teachers, I just knew there's something quite special about that specific teaching environment. And from there, I just fell in love. And I always said to myself that if anybody comes and speak to me or have a question, I want to have the answers ready and
mm,
I want to help those parents. So I have a big love for the parent community as well as obviously the learners. Um, but just working with the parents, working with the learners just made me fell in love, if I can say it informally like that. I just fell
Yeah.
in love with it. Every day is different. You can have the best lesson plan ready, the best
Yeah.
resources ready, but when you step into that classroom and you start with that lesson, then you realize, oh, um, I need to do this, or I need to say it like this, or I need to adapt this or differentiate this activity. And you really have to think on your feet the whole time. And that is what excites me about special needs education.
Oh, you really are fired up when you speak about this. So I'm really glad that we're about to get into the topic of today, which is reading limitations and support strategies in the intermediate phase. And I'm really hoping that as we go through our conversation, not only are you going to speak for mainstream learners, but also you can touch on how this also impacts special needs learners. So in recent years, more so post the COVID-19 pandemic, in South Africa, we've had these challenges with our learners from grade four, grade three, grade four ish, who struggle with reading for meaning. And I want to find out from you, what are some of the common reading limitations faced by learners in the intermediate phase?
Okay, so in the intermediate phase, learners often face challenges such as poor fluency, difficulty with word recognition, and limited vocabulary. They don't know how to express themselves or which word to use in a specific sentence, all of which
Mm-hmm.
hinders comprehension, their understanding of what they actually read and what they actually hear when someone else reads a text. According to research, learners in grade 4 may also struggle with decoding skills, so breaking
Mm-hmm.
up a word, and understanding the text structure, which can also affect their ability to grasp the meaning of what they actually read. And that goes hand in hand with comprehension. Teachers often find that learners at this stage still need additional support to navigate more complex text. Some learners also experience a lack of engagement due to these difficulties, which can lead them to experience frustration and a reduced motivational. So they are not motivated to read the text because they don't
Mm-hmm.
understand what they are reading. They don't know how to break up words. They don't know how to spell out the word, and all those leads to a great form of reading limitations that our learners experience, especially in grade 4.
Mm. Now that we are at the beginning of the year, we know our teachers are welcoming new learners. And I would like to find out then, how can we as teachers accurately assess reading levels in our learners? More so that, with our teachers now, they'll be welcoming new learners. How will they then accurately assess the learners' reading abilities in order to know how best to assist them moving forward throughout the rest of the year?
Okay, Margaret. So I'm going to start off by answering the more research based answer, but then I will
Mm-hmm.
also give more practical examples in the everyday teaching situation. So,
Thank you.
teachers,
Mm-hmm.
okay, great. Teachers can use a range of methods to assist learners. Reading levels, including
Mm-hmm.
informal reading inventories, running records, and fluency assessments. These tools help teachers to gauge a learner's decoding ability and their fluency in reading out loud. It
Mm-hmm.
also assesses the learner's comprehension. Research suggests that regular assessments enables teachers to identify the specific struggles, such as word recognition, comprehension, and allowing for intervention. For example, teachers may assess comprehension by asking learners to summarize what they read or answer specific questions about a text. And that's our everyday go to method to read a sentence or 3 to 5 sentences and then ask the learner to answer a couple of questions or to tell you what they just read. So they come and they
Mm-hmm.
summarize the text. And that's our everyday method. But it's better to go back to basics. So to speak to your grade 3 teacher of the previous year and ask her which challenges she as a teacher experienced, as well as
Yeah.
some learners who experience challenges with reading. Um, Grade 4 is a stage where they love to read, but they also read to learn. And that read to learn is the it's a very big jump from grade 3,
Yeah.
where the teacher actually spoon feed, if I can say it. In much respect, I'm also a foundation phase teacher, so I know what I'm talking about. But it's
Yeah.
so easy to repeat. And
Yes.
now
Yes.
in grade 4, there's not time to repeat. So we are at the beginning of the school year. Baseline assessment is key. Baseline assessment in every single subject: technology,
Definitely.
arts, everywhere where the learner comes into your classroom. Have some flashcards ready, flash some words to them, ask them what's the meaning of those words. Let them sound out the words, let them read out the words, and if you can send those words home, it will be great for them. Let them go and make some sentences with those words, and with that information that you will receive back, you can determine, okay, should I first start my lessons by explaining what words mean? Should I have
Mm-hmm.
like a quick flashcard session where I quickly flash a word and I quickly have to jump up and tell me what the word means? Do I have to incorporate some word games into my lessons? Um, and that will in the long run help them when we come to test time, the test and the exam period in the school year. It will only make life better for you as a teacher when you start with the basics,
Mm.
especially the first 3 weeks of the new school year.
I like the fact that you touched on baseline tests, and I'd like to encourage our listeners to actually go on our Tinkle website because we've got numerous baseline tests there that they can use to assess our learners at the beginning of the year. Now, when it comes to reading and writing, within literacy as a subject itself, there's a huge emphasis on phonics. So I would like to know, what role does phonics play in overcoming reading challenges?
Okay, so great question. I have a great passion for phonics and sounding out the words. It's the
Yeah.
basics of everything in life.
Mm.
So as everybody can know or can hear, I am an Afrikaans lady. So even phonics, when I transitioned from Afrikaans to English, I'm
Yeah.
Afrikaans speaker, but I taught in English. And
Mm-hmm.
even with that, I had to go back home and made sure that I can pronounce or say the phonics sounds properly before I go into the classroom to go and teach it. And for every second language teacher, if it's not your home language, go home, go and sound out the words for yourself. Ask someone
Mm.
when you sound out the words if they can hear what you are sounding out. It will just make it better for yourself. We are only humans, and we
Mm.
there is human error when we teach, and that's just one way to make it better for ourselves. Just to sound out words, make it fun game, a fun family game at home, and sound out some words to make sure you are sounding it out properly. But to go back to your question, or to come back to your question, Margaret,
Yeah.
what role does phonics play in the overcoming reading challenges within our grade 4 learners?
Mm-hmm.
Phonics is essential for helping learners decode words, so to break up words,
Mm-hmm.
which is the first step in becoming a fluent reader. According to research by Snow, phonics instruction help learners make the connection between letters and sounds. And there's plenty of resources and research available about letters and sounds and the connection and what happens in the brain, etc. So please take time for your size points and go and read up about the letters connection to the sounds or the sound connection to the letters. But yes, so
Hmm.
phonics instruction help learners to make the connection between letters and sounds, which is vital for word recognition and spelling. For learners in grade 4, building phonics skills is crucial as they encounter more complex words in text. Teachers can incorporate phonics into reading lessons such as games, songs, and daily practice to reinforce these skills. This helps learners to feel more confident in tackling new words and improving both their fluency and their comprehension. So, to come back to grade 4, reading is not just for languages, reading is for every single subject. So to incorporate these phonics awareness or incorporating phonics into your everyday lesson is important to have a word wall available in your classroom with all the high frequency words most used in your
Hmm.
subject against the wall. And don't just have it in your classroom, also use it when you teach. That is very
Definitely.
important because we have these beautiful
Yes.
things up against our wall and we don't use it. Don't
Use them,
waste your
yeah.
money.
Mm,
You cut out the whole December holiday, make use of those resources in the new
definitely.
academic year. So, that is one thing that you can do. And if you pick up that a learner experienced some challenges when it comes to phonics, for example, the word let's say cat, they say pat, or if they have those difficulties, that goes much deeper because they are already
Hmm.
in grade 4. If
Yeah.
there are services available such as a speech therapist, or if your local clinic can refer a learner to a speech therapist or your district offices, please make use of those services because that a learner needs serious intervention. And I can give
Mm,
some tips of how to help and what you can do inside the classroom, but that learner is already in grade 4. But
yeah.
what you can do as a teacher, there's still hope because those services are not always available. Make sure that you send a high frequency list home to the parents and give clear instructions how to use those lists. Sometimes it ends up in a flip file and it's brown and you
Mm,
can't even read anymore. They spilled water all over the piece of paper and they never used it. But if you give clear instructions with you when you have your first meeting with your parents, give
mm,
them instructions how to use those high frequency words. Give them practical examples how to use it in their everyday speech, how to incorporate high frequency words in their everyday living at home. And we think parents know, but they don't always know, and we are here to
that's true.
support our parents and how to make it easier for them at home. We know they don't have the time, but we can only give them the guidelines needed and hope and pray that they will actually use it.
As teachers, I know we are in the classrooms to facilitate learning, but we are also not always right. What are the common misconceptions about reading limitations that teachers might have?
So, one common or a common misconception is that learners with reading difficulties lack motivation or effort. We think, oh, I
Hmm.
think, I think this one is too lazy to read.
Yes, actually,
Um,
yes.
yeah, in reality, many learners struggle due to underlying issues
Mm,
such as poor phonemic awareness, so sound to letter, letter to sound, and then language deficits. Language deficits, then you move more to the speech therapist side. They can pick it
mm-hmm.
up, or limited vocabulary. We think though these learners in our classes that we call them they are like in Afrikaans we say bubble backies. They always talk and they talk and they talk and they talk, but when you actually go and listen to what they say, they actually just use a couple of words. They don't
Yeah.
use complex words or new words. and then you get another
Mm.
learner and they use a word and you think to yourself, oh my word, what is this
Where
parent
did you
doing?
learn
This
that?
child is using difficult or more challenging words, or words that we don't use in our
Yeah.
everyday language. Okay, but to come back to your
Mm.
question, teachers must recognize that struggling readers require a targeted, personalized support, and we should
Mm.
avoid assuming that learners aren't trying hard enough, because they are.
Yeah.
They are struggling. Providing
Yeah.
appropriate resources and strategies tailored to the learner's needs is essential for overcoming reading limitations. So, um, to just tell yourself this child is, or this learner is not too lazy, this learner can do it, and actually to verbalize and vocalize that to the
Mhm.
learner self and say, you know what, I believe in you, I know you can read this word, let's practice this word, let's go home and learn this word, let's say this word out loud. And repetition is key when it comes to reading. You can't just read a
Mhm.
text once and expect them to answer 10 questions about the text. Um, we have a lot of auditory input in our current day and age. They look and they listen, and they look and they listen, but processing doesn't always take place. So they watch a video on
Yeah.
YouTube, but nobody asks them afterwards, what did you just watch? Nobody. So they don't have time to process what they watch, and they don't have to vocalize what they just watched. The same with reading. They can't just read once and then you expect them to answer questions. So repetition is
Mm.
key. When they move to grade 4, read the text at the beginning of the period, and if you want them to complete the assessment on Friday, for example, or the comprehension test on Friday, read the text the whole week. When they come into the classroom or before they
Yeah.
exit to go to the next, just so they can have time to process the text. You don't have to do it every single week for every single comprehension test, but you can see eventually when they don't need that extra support anymore.
Mm. Can you recommend some Twinkle resources to address reading challenges?
So, yes, everybody please go and visit Twinkle. Twinkle has amazing resources available. There's phonics activities, reading comprehension worksheets, there's flashcards available. There's also reading books. So, there's auditory books available, as well as interactive books available that you can use on your whiteboard. And it's
Mm-hmm.
according to the different reading levels. So you will see it says 1B, 2C, etc. So please go online, type in reading books for grade ones, and they will pop up a list of resources. Even if you just search on Google Self, our Twinkle resources will also pop up.
Thank you so much, Larisha. Thank you so much for joining us again. And of course, thank you to our listeners for joining us today. As we conclude our discussion, I'd like to encourage all our listeners to check out www.twinkle.co.za. There you'll find a variety of resources aimed at supporting your teaching journey. Don't miss the wonderful materials and assistance offered by Twinkle. We help those who teach.